Totally different. I get it.
All right, so welcome everybody to the seventh and last platform committee hearing. For the edification of those who don't know me, my name is Kevin Olasanoye. I am the executive director of the Rhode Island Democratic Party. I'm joined by 6 of the 11 members of the platform committee, and we have a couple members on their way. I'll introduce them in a minute. I want to make some preliminary comments about the platform, talk a little bit about what our process was for getting here today, and then I'll turn it over to the platform committee to make some comments before we hold the vote. So as many people know, we started this process back in March, excuse me. We embarked on this journey of soliciting feedback from the public about the platform, and we held 6 meetings all around our state. 1 in every county, 2 in Providence County, I believe, with the last one being at the end of June. And since that time, the platform committee has been meeting behind closed doors, working out the language of the platform, trying to incorporate as much as possible some of the feedback that we heard from all across the state. And what we released on Thursday is a product of that work. And so the first thing I want to say is I want to thank the members of the platform committee, especially the chairs, co-chairs. Thank you all for spending your time working on this. This was not easy, but I think we're all proud of the language that we were able to get into the platform. So if you want to take a look at the actual platform, I'll just go through really quickly some of the major changes that we made sort of structurally and substantively, and then I'll turn it over to the chair, co-chairs of the platform committee to make a few comments. The first thing I want to note is that we have a historical perspective as well as a preamble in the platform. The original document, or at least the 2016 document, the preamble section was entitled What We Stand For, so we changed that based on the feedback that we heard in the preamble. We also added a historical perspective, which is just a little bit of context for how we got to here, sort of the view from 30,000 feet. And then we get right into the substance of the platform itself. There are 4 major sections that people should take a look at. The first is in the Fairness and Economic Opportunities section. We added a paragraph about organized labor and our support for organized labor. That language was something that we heard repeatedly needed to be added into the platform, and it is now in the platform. The second place that we added language was on immigration. There was not a section on immigration in the platform. There is now a very robust section talking about the values of the Democratic Party with respect to immigration. The third section is in the matter of choice section. We heard from a lot of folks around the state who said they wanted to see stronger language in that section, and we have stronger language in that section. And then the fourth section is on reducing gun violence. As we had said previously, that was the #1 issue that we heard as we went around the state. That section was not in the platform in 2016. It is in the platform now. And so we have made some other sort of cosmetic changes along the way, but those are the sort of major changes that were made to the platform. I invite people to go onto the website, www.ridemocrats.org, excuse me. Click on the link that says about the party bylaws. You'll be able to find the platform there and digest it. And so with that, I want to say thanks again for everybody for being here. Once again, thank you to the platform committee members. This job was not easy, and there was a lot of disagreement about the stuff that went in there, but what I'm most grateful for is that we were able to come to a consensus, and that we've got a document that everybody in our party can support, and that was the goal when we started this process, and that's where we are here today. So with that, I will turn it over to Representative Corvesi and co-chair Lisa Tomasulo to make some comments.
So, Kevin, thank you very much. As usual, you have put everything into a very succinct perspective of what's going on during the process up to this point. Before I only have a few very brief words, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every member of this committee Those who have not been here, but Lauren and Hillary and Chairman Abney, and Rep. Tomasulo and Chairman O'Kane. I'd like to thank you all for all the time that you put in. I'd also like to especially thank our executive director. I know they did that behind closed doors, but I'd like to make sure that this was not an easy task, and you did an exemplary job of mediating and ameliorating where it was necessary. I would especially like to thank, and I would be remiss, all the individuals who came, sometimes multiple times, to the 6 outreaches that we had throughout the state. No one can complain that this was not a transparent process. It certainly was, and that we did take into account many or most, if not all, of the components that were brought before us. So a great deal of thanks has to go to those active Democrats who came here and took their time and expressed their views of how the party should proceed. Before I ask for a motion, I'm going to ask everyone to make whatever comments they wish, talk about the platform, the document before us, but I would like to say that I think that this has been a pretty inclusive document that foreshadows the future of the Democratic Party in the direction that it will probably take. So, other than that, I think I've spoken enough. I'll turn it to Chair. Or Lauren, would you care to say a few words?
No, this is the second time I've been part of this process from 2016 to today, and I do think that more voices were heard in this one, which was good. I think in 2016 it was pretty much, we were told, well, nope, it won't pass, nope, we can't do that, nope, we can't do that. So there was a lot of negativity, and I think this one is more inclusive, and it really reflects the expanded values and the expanded needs of having a platform that reaches out to more people and has more people in mind with the language and with the subject matters and topics.
So I just wanted to say it was great to be part of this process, and I was glad that we were able to open it up to so many people. I do wish we could have done one last session so people could give feedback directly on a draft. But I understand timing is difficult, but I do hope in the next iteration of a platform that there is an opportunity that once people have given their feedback to see what the draft is, so they can then also provide feedback on that. But I am proud that we were able to include things that weren't in there before, refine things on particular subjects that had been in before. And while everybody may not be 100% happy, that's probably a sign that we did okay.
Well, thank you very much. I like to keep things real in the sense that last week I entertained 8 legislators from Germany and from Switzerland in my office, and we were just talking about the U.S. process of how we get things done, and they were just amazed at how much time, first of all, people, like yourself, put into this process, but they couldn't believe to a large degree how involved the community is in the process of doing platforms. In that case, it was making laws. So I'm one of those persons that understands that not everybody will get every single thing they want the way they want, but at the end of the day, they were just so amazed at how well we put things together like a platform from which candidates can then use when they campaign. And I think that's great, and what you said is a great example. There are a lot of things that we wish we could put in and not take out, but we live in a democracy, and it's like a bell curve. You can't satisfy everybody on every extreme, but you can work with that 80% that's in the middle. And I think that's what this document has done. It has covered a lot of areas that are important to all of our communities, and I hope people understand that. And I think from this platform, those of us who have to hit the streets and knock on doors, we can use this I know I can certainly use it and will use it in my campaign of explaining why I'm a Democrat and why I think that what we're proposing is good for the whole.
Can I say one other quick thing? I think this is like a capital D Democrat thing, but I do want to say, like, not a lot of people are here today. But if you think about the Johnston meeting, which was a little bit contentious, when I looked out, I was like, this is actual democracy. And it was a full room, and there was like a diversity, and everyone got a chance to speak. And I do think that was like really important, even if not everybody was happy with everything that was said. But that's actual, like, Tomasulo.
Steve?
Thank you, Chip. What really struck me in this process is the participation that everyday folks who work hard every day took time out of their day, whatever their struggles were, to come and give us their seasoned and good advice on a variety of topics. I really appreciated that, as we did. As you mentioned, in Johnston it was a bit contentious, in other places not so much. But I thought the fact that people got off the couch and came out to have their voice heard, no matter what side of the couch we might sit on, the fact is we came out as Democrats to be heard, and I think this process is really carried through. The phrase "the why 10" is often used, but I think it's true in many cases, and I think this is a perfect example. I would like to take a moment to thank you, Doc Providence and Lisa Tomasulo, for your leadership in this process, of course, Chairman also, and thank you, Kevin, for your seasoned guidance through this process. It would have been much more difficult without the three of you in this process, so thank you.
Chair.
Actually, so I also would like to thank Kevin for all of his hard work, and the work that he did is not just the work that was happening in front of the committees. I know that each of us had our own conversations with him, and so he was really made himself available for us through this process as we tried to work through what we needed to do to produce this product. Of course, want to thank all of the individuals who came out, which I think was, I agree with Hillary. That was really what my comment was more to be focused on, is that this was really true democracy in action. And also that I think that one of the things that we heard resonate, aside from what issues needed to be put into the platform, that there was concern about the transparency and the processes that the party has used over the last few years in order to create itself. And I think that this opportunity presented itself to the community in such a way that the process was good and that democracy did happen with the input of the people. Welcome.
So, we have...
and that said, I just want to also just thank all of my colleagues here on the committee for all of their hard work and participation.
Well, Judy, we just went through every comment. We all shared our comments. We wish we were here for this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can read on Uprise soon, I'm sure.
But at this time,
As long as the meeting's not over.
It's not over.
it will be shortly. I am going to entertain a motion to accept the platform that is here before us.
So moved.
By Chairman Adams.
I'll second that.
Second by Stephen Mulcahy.
I,
All those in favor? There are no public comments tonight.
It's just a small enough group that if people wanted to comment, perhaps they should have the opportunity. Or after we vote at least, so they get a chance.
Again, you know.
Yeah, I think what makes sense is to have the committee take the vote, and then to the extent that there are comments after the vote, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
Or what, take that's fine.
So we have a motion by Chair Tomasulo, seconded by Chair Mulcahy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So I guess since we have such an intimate gathering, if anyone would like to make any comments, feel free.
everybody has a chance to read it or review it.
Great, so let me just kind of do the overview that I did before you got here for the edification of those that weren't here. You have in the platform several changes. I'll go through them kind of in bulk and then we'll go from there. So the first thing is people said we needed to have a preamble, not what we stand for section. So on page 3 of the platform, you'll see 2 sections right at the beginning. One is a historical perspective that gives a little bit of history behind Rhode Island, kind of looks at it from 30,000 feet, then gets right into the preamble section, which was the what we stand for section before. And then there are 4 major sections that were revised, worked on, I would say. The first is, in the fairness and economic opportunity section, we added a paragraph about supporting our brothers and sisters in organized labor. That language was something that was missing in the first section, so we added that in there. We added an immigration section, as we talked about. We've been walking around the state. There was no immigration section. There's now a very robust section that talks about the party's values with respect to that issue. Third, we heard from folks all around the state that they wanted to see stronger language on the issue of choice. And so if you go into the choice section, there is much stronger language on that issue. And finally, the #1 issue that we heard as we walked around the state was on reducing gun violence. We now have a paragraph or 2 on reducing gun violence on the platform. And so those are sort of the major sections that were revised. There were obviously some dribs and drabs in other places, but those are the highlights. And as I've said to folks, I invite you to visit the website, www.ridemocrats.org. If you go onto the main page, you'll see a tab that says About the Party. Click on that tab. Underneath it, you'll see party bylaws. And when that page populates, you will see the platform there for you.
Kevin, one thing, make sure that you have the full document. I had actually a copy of the document which did not have page 5 and 6, so make sure that you have 11 pages.
I'll share mine with you.
I have it. I got another one.
And the last thing that I'll say about this that I did not say earlier is what makes me so proud about this platform is that in the stage that we're at, where we've got 52 days until the general election, it is very clear what the Democratic Party stands for in Rhode Island, and we now have a document that doesn't matter what part of the party you're from, you can get behind and make the case why Democrats are a better choice than Republicans and independents coming up on November 6th. And I spent a lot of time looking at the Republican Party's website recently and looking at their platform, and there are some really, really stark differences and choices that folks are going to make. And as I said, what makes me the proudest about this document is it really does, I think, do a good job of balancing the interest of everyone that's in our party, while at the same time making a really strong and clear case that on all the issues that we care about, whether it's healthcare, jobs, the economy, making sure that kids have schools that inspire them to learn, and strong public education, the environment, civil rights, voting rights, you name it. We have a clear vision, a strong statement about where we're at, and I would take this document and have that argument against Republicans in our state any day. So I'm really proud of this document. I'm proud of the work that was done to put this thing together, and I hope that whatever side of the fence, side of the tent or the couch you sit on, you can find something in this document that you can appreciate, that you can get behind, and that makes you feel proud to be a Democrat. I like the couch much better.
Yeah,
Worn out the tent thing a little bit, yeah, couch.
The sectional.
I have a question, just in terms of like looking at the historical development of this document. You know, I went to try to find 2016 to compare, and it's no longer available. And you know, I just like to have prior things to sort of see what's the evolution, what are things that have changed, what things have not.
So I'd be happy to.
Honestly, you know, looking at the choice thing, sort of eyeballing it, I thought that it looked very similar to what I remembered from the past, but you know, I didn't have it there to make the comparison.
Yeah, I'd be happy to get you a copy of it personally. I'll give you my contact info. I'll get it to you. There's also a physical copy of it here, but I would say substantively, there was much debate, trust me, about that issue and what specifically the language. How did we make it stronger? How did we be responsive to the comments that we heard as we traveled around the state? I think we were able to get there, and it is different, I would say, in quality and quantity than the 2016. But anybody who's looking for it, I'll make sure you have it.
Also, something that I didn't add, Kevin, is that now there's a table of contents.
Yeah.
So that was a big improvement because we did hear from a lot of people that it was really hard if people were looking for a quick peek at where we stood on any of the issues. They'd have to sometimes go through something a couple of times to pick it out, to find it. So we have, Kevin did include a table of contents, which is on the website as well, to make it easier for people to find a specific issue that they want to learn more
There's a
about.
lot more in the environment too.
Okay.
So is this it? It's like all over where this is
That's
the
it.
platform? All right, cool. There's no other step, right?
No.
Cool, just making sure.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And so the next time this document will be, Sean, come on, have a seat.
Do you want to say anything? I don't know where my phone is.
Oh.
And Kevin, the next time this document will rear its head will be before the entire committee, correct?
That's right, yeah,
That
so,
would be-
so procedurally speaking, we're having a little tough time trying to figure out what's the next thing.
Okay.
As you all know, we changed state law to allow the parties to kind of control the platform approval process. I think where we have settled is that this vote is likely going to be the last vote on the platform this year.
In 2018.
In 2018. I really don't think it's a good idea for us to distract people from running their general election races. So we're probably not going to be able to get the state committee together before the end of the year. However, we do have to have elections for the state committee in the first quarter of 2019. And so in addition to having those elections, this platform will be on the agenda for adoption. It is also my hope that at that time when the elections are completed, we will have a second meeting sometime later in the year where we will appoint or reappoint new committees, and then all the committees can get to work on the stuff that they need to do through 2022, which is when their terms will be up. So for now, it is my belief.
Well, I
that
don't, well, just as a procedural point, the new subcommittees of which the platform committee is one would not be appointed until after the election of the party.
That's correct. Yeah, so
Officials
what's going to
in the
happen
first
on,
quarter of
so in the first
2019.
quarter, we haven't figured out when yet, we just want to get through elections.
Nothing should be appointed now.
But some
before-
point after elections are over, we'll put a date on the calendar for officer elections. Officer elections.
Just so there's no confusion, when you say after the elections are over, you're not talking about prior to December 31st.
No.
First quarter of.
I do not believe we're
When you
going
say elections are over, you're talking.
elections in
November.
November, yes.
Yeah.
We want, like,
But I think it should be clear, nothing is going to transpire between now and December
No.
31st
No.
as far as the party getting together.
no.
That'll be after,
The
right?
party will probably have its first state committee sometime in the first quarter
Right.
of 2019.
Okay.
And
I
during
just want to
that-
make that clear, because I don't want anyone to think that the present party structure is
No.
going to
So
appoint a platform committee for the next.
Yeah, so during that meeting in the first quarter of 2019, the last sort of cleanup thing that the state committee will have to do is to adopt this platform. Then we will have officer elections. When the elections are completed, we'll take a look at where everybody is. The new chair, the new executive board will sit down, and then we'll make recommendations for appointments to standing committees. We will probably do a second state committee meeting sometime later in 2019 where we will make all of those appointments so that everybody knows when those are done. It's kind of what I'm thinking.
Joey, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Sharon really has been a committed member of this process, and she's attended every meeting that we have for listening sessions. Yeah, and except what?
No, sorry.
So I don't want to put you on the spot, but because you did have a lot to contribute while we were deliberating and having conversation, but if you had something to say, I certainly want to give you that opportunity, even though you came in post hoc. So yeah, don't feel pressure. I don't want you to be overlooked because you did have a.
No, not much to add other than just grateful to be a part of the process and looking forward to seeing you be more committed to the party platform. That's it.
Okay, I thank everyone.
Well, she had
Oh, Judy, you have something to say?
My only comment was, we're calling this a 2018 platform, but in reality, although it was developed in 2018, it's the 2019 platform.
Right.
In that case, is there going to be a revision for the 2020 election year?
Yeah, I think he referred to the.
Yeah, that's great.
I missed that. Only
So that is a great question.
I think you
So the answer is that we are trying to get to a 4-year cycle on our platform. And in order to do that, we had to revise one because we have midterm elections and our general officers are on the ballot. So in a perfect world, what we will do is the platform committee will spit out another platform in 2020 during the national presidential election cycle, and then we will move to a 4-year cycle, right? So we will be on a 4-year cycle with our party platform starting in 2020, and that will be a different cycle than our election cycle, which is the other 2 years.
So the party platform will reflect the presidential cycle as opposed to.
Yes, so there will be another party platform process like this one. We will do that in 2020. And so at the 2020 state committee meeting, in addition to making endorsements, we will vote on the platform that is adopted by the next iteration of the platform committee.
Is that going to be written somewhere? Like, are we just saying that's what the plan is, or is it going to be?
So I think it's a conversation that our Rules and Bylaws Committee should have at that time, whether or not they should codify it so that it's written clearly what that cycle is going to look like. And I think that's a decision that I am going to recommend that the next state committee make, but I very highly recommend that it gets put in paper somewhere.
Because it's unfortunate that this year's candidates don't have a new platform that they can, be asked, do you support the new platform? Is, obviously, it's for a reason, and it's not for the.
You still can.
Actually,
Well, I think-
between now and November, we still
Yes.
can get feedback from any of the candidates that are running, just to see if they.
I doubt that you will find a candidate for statewide office who does not agree with what we put in the platform. And I suspect the same is true of members of the House and Senate.
Well, I think there may be some
There
differences
could
of
be a
opinion in
few.
certain places
Yes.
where Democrats grow in different perspectives, with
Right.
certain perspectives, but I think you're correct.
So I think, that's what the plan is moving forward, so that we can kind of get to what I call regular order.
So all of the candidates specifically will get a copy of this. They don't have to look for it themselves. You will make sure that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would imagine someone could use it in a debate that probably
Thank
Steve
you.
will cover and
Yeah.
say, this is what the platform says,
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for
Well,
coming
thank you
out.
very much.
Thank you.
And
I don't want to hold everybody up. I know the Patriots are playing. It's very important, so.
that concludes this meeting, so thank you.